Yo, what is up folks, MTG here, looking at Green White Knight in Timeless. Knight of the Reliquary, one of my favourite cards in Magic. 1 green white for 2/2, plus a +1 for each land in your graveyard. Tap, sacrifice a forest or plains, search your load for a land card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. It's a little bit slow, and so we've kind of packed it into a kind of like Maverick-ish shell, kind of like more tuned towards using some land stuff. We've still got some disruptive creatures, got a bunch of land synergies, and yeah, that's how I've run through the list. So at 1, we've got 4 copies of Giver Runes, protects your other creatures. We've got some disposable creatures, you want to protect them. Hey, Giver Runes means I have to kill this first. Neat. You'll note that actually all our 1-drops are 1/2s, which is quite important. Next up, we've got Delighted Halfling, green for 1/2. That's for colorless, or mana for a legendary creature. If it has legendary creatures like Thalia, for example, we've got Kellen here as well. There's a Boromir up here, Titania 2, and even an Azusa. Can't be counted. Hey, some nice upside. It's a mana creature, doesn't get Bowmastered. Again, 2 toughness, kind of nice. We're avoiding Deathrite Shaman here. It is obviously really, really good in the format. Almost problematic in some ways because we're trying to power up Knight, but because we're trying to use lands in our graveyard, we don't want to be exiling them. Then we've got 4 copies of Elvish Reclaimer, kind of like mini Knight. Green for a 1/2, again, +2/+2 as long as there are 3 or more land cards in your graveyard. It's an important number. 2 tap, sacrifice a land, search your library for a land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Again, has that like Knight ability, can tutor for specific lands we want to fetch, and obviously later on in the game is going to be bigger, like 1 mana Tarmogoyf. At 2, this is where we start having some disruptive creatures. So being able to tutor for lands, we have a couple of niche pieces, like a Bajuka Bog here, which like, hey, these are pretty handy. These can like nuke what our opponent's doing. We've got 4 copies of Thalia. Is good enough almost by itself to beat some decks. If you're trying to do storm things, all that kind of stuff. Not creature spells cost 1 more cast. We are playing collector companies of our own. That's fine. Our land count's pretty high. We can kind of afford to pay that. We've got some mana creatures as well. But Thalia, just really, really good at shutting down some of the spell-based decks, and even just slowing down your opponent's removal. And if you've got Giver Runes in play, hey, they've got to go through this, then do this, and then they're paying that extra mana each time. Also, 1 copy of Scavenging Ooze. What does it mean that graveyard? Hey, obviously we have Knight for Bog, Reclaimer for Bog. Is great. Sometimes you draw the Bajuka Bog and it's in an awkward position. But hey, some extra, and we can actually kind of like dig for this either with Collector Company or with Kellen, which is our other 2-drop. Kellen Daring Traveler here, kind of rounding out our 2s. 2 mana for 2/3. Like, you know, not a bad stat line. Has this Journey On ability where it creates map tokens. If you like, don't have a 1-drop or have excess mana later on, you can make a map token where X is 1 plus the number of opponents you control an artifact. Hey, sometimes you get more than 1, but as a 2 mana 2/3, when it attacks, you reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, mana value 3 or less, put it into your hand. Otherwise, you may put it into your graveyard. So if you hit a creature, 3 or less, that's all our creatures, you get to put it into your hand. And if it's not, it's a May ability, put in the graveyard. So like, hey, you can just dump the lands there, which is where we want them anyway in a lot of cases. Pretty nice, but some awesome card advantage. And then 3 is kind of like where we're kind of loaded up. We're playing a Collector Company deck, so we won't have loads of good 3s to grab off of it. And some of these are more disruptive than others. We have the Knight of the Reliquaries up here. I kind of talked about how we've got like a package of land matters cards to kind of like look for. We've got 2 copies of Titania alongside an Argoth in our mana base. Argoth, obviously, we can go fetch with the Knight or the Reclaimer. Titania, though, 3/4 with reach. When a land card's put from anywhere into the graveyard, gain 2 life. Okay, neat. You've got a bunch of ways to trigger that. But if you have 4 more land cards in your graveyard and you own this and an Argoth, you get to flip it into Titania, Gaia Incarnate, Vigilance, Reach, Trample, Haste, return all land cards from the battlefield tapped. From the graveyard to the battlefield tapped. There's power and toughness. You can turn them on lands you control. And you can spend mana to put counters on lands to give them haste and turn them into big creatures. But it's like a huge big threat, often will just end the game. So some awesome upside here. We can obviously, like, we've got 2 copies of Titania. It is legendary. We've got Collector Company to kind of help find it, as well as Kellen to kind of dig for it a little bit. And obviously we've got a bunch of ways to tutor for the Argoth. We can also recur the Argoth out of our graveyard. We've got 1 copy Ramanap Excavator. Pretty synergistic with the deck anyway. Obviously, like, we've got a bunch of lands. We can play them out of our graveyard because we're going to be sacrificing into Knight, Reclaimer, etc., etc. But in particular, it gives us the option to start doing things with Ghost Quarters, where there are a lot of decks in this format where they're not playing many basic lands. And we can punish that. And we can punish that pretty hard. We've got Ramanap Excavators, so we can recur these. Obviously, we've got 4 Ghost Quarters in the mana base, and then we can tutor them up with Elvish Reclaimer and Knight of the Reliquary. But then we also have a 1 of Azusa Lost but Seeking. So we can go like, hey, I'm just going to Ghost Quarter you 3 times. Which is a nice little like 2-card piece here. There was a version of this deck, I was playing Fiend Artisan, and going a little bit bigger. But I've kind of like cut them here. I don't think that's good in the green-white pure shell. And then a couple of more disruptive 3s. So we have 1 copy of Boromir, Warden of the Tower, 3 mana for a 3/3. Firstly, whenever an opponent casts a spell, if no mana is spent to cast it, counter it. Whether that be something like Mishra's Bauble or some other nonsense. But then also you can sacrifice it to give your other creatures indestructible and get a temp trigger from the ring. So some protection for your board while also being like a pretty disruptive thing, and is like super sweet. And lastly, 2 copies of Aven Mind Sensor. Going back to we've got 4 Ghost Quarters in our mana base, but obviously this format, loads of people playing fetches, nobody is prepared. Often, like Thalia into Aven Mind Sensor just shuts the game out completely. So we can, once we've got the Aven Mind Sensor, go like start tutoring up Ghost Quarters and just like say, hey, just gonna wasteland you, strip mine you out of the game. So pretty nice, Just 2 copies, and then 4 collector companies kind of holding everything together. The mana base itself has a couple of quirks, but it's all kind of like vaguely straightforward. Forward of Foothills for Windswept Heath with a 1 of Flooded Strand here. We've got 4 Ghost Quarters, just because, like, again, we want to try and wasteland our opponent, strip mine them out of the game if possible, in where that's possible. 1 copy of Field of the Dead, which we can get up to triggering. Because of this, we also have alternate basics with Plains, Snow-Covered Plains, Forest, Snow-Covered Forest, 3 actual Temple Gardens, and then kind of a Colony Garden, gives us some insulation versus the Liana of the Veil, any Edict effects. We have a Boseiju, obviously just a great answer for artifacts, enchantments, and potentially other Field of the Deads. The Argoth for Titania, the Paducah Bog to exile graveyards, and that rounds us out. We're taking this into some best of 1 ranked. We'll get back to best of 3 fairly soon once we've got some new stuff to talk about. I'm really looking forward to Karlov Manor around the corner, and there should be some cool stuff here. There's also kind of cool thing where, as we get the rest of Pioneer onto the format, it actually adds a bunch of cards that are important for things like Timeless as well. If we got to play like Retreat to Coralhelm, for example, Knigth the Reliquary, would be super sweet to be able to play in this format. But alas, for the time being, no. Hey. Right, let's hop into some ranked games. Oh, if you're not already, please subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And yeah, let's go. Alright, first matchup here with Timeless Knight. We have 1-drop Mother, we have Kellen, we've got Mind Sensor and Tireless Tracker, and we're on the play. All seems good to me. I don't know which one of these are the ones that teeth we fetch Plains here for the giver, but that's fine. Lead on the Temple Garden. Leyline doesn't affect us, but hey, does smell like nonsense for sure. We'll see. Do you think the Leyline Sanctuary deck's a creature deck? Oh, as it turns into Symbiosis. This is Goblin Charbelcher, I believe. So this is going to be a bit of a weird race, maybe. I don't know how this is going to go. Hopefully we can find a Thalia soon and kind of slow them down a bit. Kind of wins that to you. Fetch. 4 more planes. Gotta give them any. Obviously, you don't have a lot to go on here. Given what they're playing, I'm just going to attack with this to kill them as fast as possible. Find a way to disrupt what they're doing, otherwise we will die and get Charbelchered. So the Wizard's Rockets, ETB tapped, X tap sacrifice it, add X mana in any combination of colours. This fixes your mana for you, and also when it's put into the graveyard, you card kind of like Chromatic Star. I'm so worried. I've been like thinking about doing a bidder on the Belcher deck, but it seems a little bit gimmicky. Oh, we found a Thalia, that's great. Probably. Gonna even we have the Thalia. I don't believe it. It's not one they can use comfortably. Right, we drew a die at halfway. I was basically thinking, like, do we think they might have a removal spell in their deck? Potentially, but them being able to find one through Thalia, it'll be like a 1 of. Pretty ridiculous. I'll make sure I get a land with a different name here first. Kind of shows. Just trying to clock them as fast as possible. I mean, the Thalian plays probably work better than the Aven Mind Sensor. This potentially shuts off a tutor effect. Could be relevant. It's the green-black tutor for the top like 20 cards of your deck. But we will see. Yeah, the Thalia should slow them down even more. So 4 mana is the cost for Charbelcher. and then 3 minutes to activate it. So like, when we're absolutely, positively not in any kind of the clear. Get a draw here. Can't really stop that. Argoth does enter battlefield. It has to be a legendary green creature. It can't just be anything. Put New Giver into play, and then we've got the Mind Sensor on flag. Alright. We have lethal on board, so we should be all good. Them having... They need a lot of Dark Ritual to kill us through Thalia. More than 4. Alright, cool. We'll take the first one. Alright, we do beat the Belcher deck. Is it, like I said, I was like thinking about covering a little bit, but I'm like not super keen. Not even though I'm not super keen. I think the deck's really, really sweet. I just don't know, like a little bit too gimmicky. There's enough people like this. It gets played a reasonable amount, like fairly consistent, just a little slow format in general. You do obviously have like, hey, I drew all my Dark Ritual, but yeah, I think blind. I'm gonna make the Halfling first. We'll grab a Temple Garden. And then if they're not playing like an interactive, like if they don't show anything interactive, we might just drop Knight as early as possible. We'll see. They could just have Thoughtseize here. That'd also be. And they don't. We definitely want to play Thalia, so we want to play Thalia and the Giver. Let's do. Don't just tap my land whatever you want. So Thalia first. Once they're on one land, that cuts off removal. Next turn they will be able to fatal push this. Playing this on 2. Well, sorry. Playing this before the Giver of Runes means we have like less time before we have protection for removal up, but they could just push the Giver is the kind of point. It's kind of not actually that much of a. We'll see. The upside of having the Halfling means you get to like double spell on turn 2. You take those. And if they like burn removal here, then we can spam Knight. Happy about it. Currently Knight is a 4/4. Yeah, let me know if you want to see something on the Belcher deck. It is really, really sweet. I also think it's something that covered these. Okay, so they're exiling cards to this. It's not the end of it. They don't have a great way to kill Knight. You can obviously play the Boromir first. What do we think they March? It smells like some kind of black control deck. I mean, we have protection. Go ahead and do that. Fetch like this now. We drew. Get this. Knight also leads us like a road to be able to get Field of the Ruin, Field of the Dead active. After a little bit. We'll see how this rolls. Dilex is a white Royal Exile. We actually have some protection rest this, which is nice. We go. They're on 21. We might want here. If they kind of like find a way to get around this, then do we read the card test? Use of greater power. I'll put it on the Halfling. No real point having it on the Knight. It does enable Fatal Push. We've got as dreadful stuff now. Ritual. Oh, God. It's just like Ritual, Necro, Pace and Life. What you do? I'll sacrifice the halfling. Alright, so now we want a knight. And a knight away. The least valuable land we have is actually the Temple Garden. Weird, but where we are. And I want to put as many lands into everywhere as possible. They're playing mono black, so I'm not gonna like put them out of the game. No need to show this yet. I'm just gonna get one of these. Get the extra land in our graveyard. Like the circle planes. Alright. So you get in the red zone. There you go. We've got company, we've got the Giver to protect. The Save of Mind Sensor is pretty dead in this matchup, but it is a 2-1 with flying. Can't be that unhappy with that. March here. For black. Again, some life back, which is kind of annoying. If we had another copy of the Forum in our deck, we'd like Coco in response, but let's see what we find. Titania. Oh, this is not gonna flip, but need to have both things online. Land drop. Do that. I'm just gonna smooth. We have the Mind Sensor. I'm gonna attack both of these. Gonna look tonight for Yargoth here, and then we get all our fetches back. Forest. Yeah, they're gonna scoop that. The Titania here is lethal. Okay. Nice. What number we get? 1961. We're still a long way off anything relevant. Alright, yeah. Yeah, the draw matched up pretty well there. We get the one of Boromir, the Silex deck. Part of the play, we have no one drop, which means like something like a little bit behind. Gonna keep this, and it's like solid, like Barley and Tonight is. We're trying to do here once for death, right? Okay, I was like, ooh, maybe it's a prime time there. Death right is annoying, for sure. Oh, the other thing that I should address actually is that we are not playing. We're not playing Swords of Plowshares. The reason that is because we actually have 26 lands. 26 lands plus the 4 companies makes 30, means we've got a 50-50 split of things we can hit our company and things that we can't. As well as like having to find the space for 4 Swords of Plowshares, it also makes our collector companies a ton worse. Which is why we are not on it. There's a reasonable chance that Besage is quite useful to fire this off. Play Thalia. Alright. I say this is usually useful. We maybe should just. They've got patches. Once. Deathrite, Blood Artist. I don't think the actual Yorg is on the client, because I believe I checked. But stuff going on. No, I have no interest in attacking. If we had a land, I'd be like, alright, we maybe. Yeah. Oh, they could also have code. We've only seen black green lands, so I'm like, are they playing Amalia? Question mark? Maybe. They didn't exile land from our graveyard with Deathrite, which makes me feel. But also. Oh no, my bad. Yawgmoth is legal. I was like, I thought I checked and it wasn't, but I'm very wrong. Okay. How do you want to deal with that? What if we try and like pick our opponent a bit? I think that's gonna go. I don't think it's gonna go well for us. I think we get rolled by this. Maybe it's the only out. I think they're gonna remember that they have Death Right Shaman in play and have abilities on it. Yeah, I'm not actually sure. This would be a good reason to play that Source of Clash, as I mentioned earlier. What's gonna happen? I think if we want to just like flood our grave. Oh, okay. Um, actual before. It could be great. It could be anything. All right, I'm gonna try that later. All right, okay. It's a track, so it's not like some Yogmoth specific like. You kind of. I see that we can't really beat the tracks. In best of three, I definitely have the swords in the sideboard, but finding space in the main deck is. Knight's kind of beat over the top of a lot of creatures. There's a wolf. A backup natural order as well. Like, probably done. I think this logically. The backup to one land and a grave. Two land in the graveyard. You can outpace the Death Right Shaman. Even more land in the graveyard. Red 3. Now we're threatening to be able to like go and I say threatening. We're like kind of threatening to be able to go and turn this on. But like only kind of. Not great. Warden doesn't stop natural order either. There are like polarizing matchups like this in Timeless. Okay. To get to the point where they can do some catch natural order, they probably won't. They probably also have the creative behemoth. I think about. Yeah, we just don't have a way to stop them. I could have knighted on our turn and then like Boromid, but that's not actually. 5 here, 12, 20, 34. Not have the toughness. We cannot survive this. Alright, we take an L. Alright, did lose that last one. Yeah, I think this will probably be the last game, unless it's like super. We're on the play. We have turn 1 give you turn 1 give you turn 1 give a 10-2 thought. Go ahead and Thalia Coco is a non-bow, but we're playing 26 lands. The 26 land collector company deck is also an unusual site, but here. This is how we are living. Alright. Thalia in play. Swiss Spear. A lot of the way this should work is that we should block here. Because anything we cast is going to cost both their mana. Your protection. Give over. But it does feel a little sketchy. This goes pro reds. You take 3 lightning bolt. We absorb this. Alright. So we want Boggin. This option, like line of stuff, becomes less cool as they get more mana. I'm trying to work out if I want to attack here or I'll run the same playback. If we run the same playback, I'm gonna bog here because the Temple Garden does it. You want to be able to collect a company. Leave this back. Run the same thing back. Again, they can only cast one spell off of 2 lands. Off of 3 lands, they can only cast one spell as long as the Tharli is in play. They need one spell to get the Swift Spear. Oh, it's a play with fire. Unlike Mother of Runes, can't protect. Unquote balance. Alright. We can still Coco here, but we'll do it. Think on that. Is the most. I want to. The only reasons not to do on that side. I mean, they might attack. We might get to ambush them. But this is one of those like, hey, we should in with. Do some options. Sacrifice. I think we should do. Harley's currently just keeping them at complete. Calendaring variability. Kind of cheese. We have like infinite Thalias now. I think. But still, we get off of Kellen. We get a Knight, which is that case. Let's make Knight. Knight currently tiny. So this time we're not going to block the monastery switch. Probably. So the halflings. See what she's right now. Kind of done. We have. Which want to end the game? The reason I've attacked with a Knight, because we can. Not like a good plan. They're on 8, we should be able to present one of these that. Just so I have it back. I have 3. Then this formation is very lethal. We don't have Wolf Run on the platform yet, which would be really, really sweet. That'd be really cool. Korra Helm would be really, really cool. I love me some Knightly Reliquary. Okay, cool. Yeah, that was the last one, I think. Right, little post game wrap up. Done pretty well. We took one loss there, kind of to Atraxa. Oh well, that looks really, really sweet. You have Natural Order for Atraxa plus Courier, but then you're also doing like Yawgmoth creature deck things, which are pretty powerful anyway. Natural Order, a really, really versatile card. I'm surprised to see it like kind of like splashed in. Well, not necessarily splashed, but like played in all green creature decks. I wouldn't want to play it here, but for example, like you could play Knight of the Reliquary deck with Primeval Titan and go and have like early stuff to be able to like no for Primeval Titan or other stuff. It's a pretty flexible card. Like no Bounce is like a really, really powerful deck in Legacy. Obviously been played in Elves for well. Good there. Actually, yeah, I've been meaning to do a deck profile on Natural Order Elves. Hopefully that'll come out fairly soon. Yeah. Follow mana around the corner. This deck I think is really, really sweet. There's some like I talked a little bit about how you could put Source of Power shares in here. 26 lands is a lot. You can maybe cut 1. I would hate to cut 2. But also you get to like I guess you could trim the Flooded Strand. There's like you have to work out exactly what to do here. But the way this deck is designed is to be people roll in on your like land stuff, having a bunch of like pretty disruptive creatures. Like there are decks that just kind of can't beat some of these cards. and then like a pretty good backup game, like a pretty good actually like proactive game plan of our own with Knigth the Reliquary, and also like this Titanium Wing condition, which is very, very real as well. Retreat to Corahelm would be really sick. Castle Wolf Run would also be really, really good. Wonder if we see those. I had a quick look. Like I was like, it wasn't in Shadows of the Past, was it? No, Castle Wolf Run did not make it onto the platform. But we'll see. We'll see. Cool stuff to come, I think. Hope you enjoyed the video. Deck is super, super sweet. And yeah, if you did, please do like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Please do share it around. And yeah, thanks for watching. Peace out.